Hey Libra, this is Wishko the Ferret. Thanks for hopping into the Ferret Den. We're keeping things warm here, we're keeping things cozy, and today we have a reading for you for April 17th to the 23rd. So there is a new moon in Aries coming up on April 20th. So midway through the week here, there's also a hybrid solar eclipse happening at that time. Super big energy, so if you are interested in figuring out how those astrological transits affect your sign, go ahead and look at your favorite astrologer so you can capitalize on those energies and figure out how it works for you. Other than that, we're just going to jump right in here as always. Drop into your heart space, let the dust spiritually, physically, and emotionally settle around and within you so that you can determine which messages are for you, which messages are for others. So I'm going to step into my own space at this time. If you hear any noises in the background, that's my ferrets running around. I'm going to drop into my own spaces and I'm going to ground myself and call in my energies. So thank you, Archangel Michael, for surrounding me with a bubble of protection and light. Thank you, angel team, spirit guides, for connecting me with the highest good and for allowing all the words that I speak to find the people that it's meant to find, to help uplift and inspire them and heal them. Thank you for helping me connect with Libra sun, moon, or rising, or whoever feels called to this Libra collective energy and is in need of a message for April 17th to the 23rd, or for whenever they feel called to come. Thank you for allowing your guidance to move through me effortlessly, fluidly, in a way that I can articulate it very clearly so that our audience can understand. Libra. Really want to take that. It all came out at the same time, so just looking for one more. Thank you. That's why. Okay. Lots of cards came popping out, and then when I shuffled them all back in and said there was too much, there was a card that popped out that I said, I understand why so many cards popped out with that card. We'll get to that in a minute. I feel like I need to no, I'm not going to express that first. There's a reason it came last. But I feel like there's a lot going on right now. With the Eight of Wands, that indicates there are many powers at play here. Perhaps there's just too much on your plate, or there's a lot of tasks that you're undertaking at this time. But Eight of Wands is usually a card that represents a need to focus. So this could be something where you're very intentional in the things that you feel. It feels very, like, whatever this is, this feels very intentional. So I think that's Spirit telling me that sometimes I go off saying one thing and then Spirit comes in with something else and kind of clarifies for me. It feels like there is a lot of energy here, but that it's intentional from you. Like, you are the ones to throw all of your balls up in the air or, like, collect them all. It seems like you have so many guides with you right now. Like, you have the gift of guides with you. So, like, all of our spirit guides, our angel teams, they're all like a gift to us. And it feels like you just have so many guides because there are so many things that you're trying to do at once. Eight of Wands does represent a need to focus, but I feel as if you are beyond, I'm not going to say beyond that point, because, like, I feel like we can undertake a little too much, but I don't see any heavy-handed cards here that indicate that it's a problem now. I feel like some of these goals could be a little short-sighted, and then some of them, not short-sighted, but you will attempt to do them only for the short term. And then you have other goals that you're pursuing that are for the long term. So there are multiple things that you're working towards, but some of them won't last as long. So that's kind of your saving grace through this all, or that's kind of what's helping you breathe a little bit easier and helping manage your stress a little bit, and for helping manage this overwhelming energy, is the fact that you're not going to be in it forever, and that feels calming to you. that feels like it's enough to push you through it. You have here the King of Swords, so it indicates somebody with a clear head. You have a very strong mind. This card is indicative of the skills that you wield within you. So the King of Swords, somebody who has a lot of might and proclaims it. Like, he uses his words as, like, his words are his power. So you're somebody who is very strong in their words. Your words are your power. You have the gift of word, it seems. You have the gift of a logical or analytical mind, and you can categorize and things appropriately and solve problems very promptly. For whatever reason, I'm hearing that you wish that it was different, or that you wish your abilities were different. All of the time and space that you have used, everything that you have encountered from the start of your life up until now, has been used to help cultivate this skill. So this is like whatever this, whether it's the skill of the word, skill of the mind, this is something that I've been cultivated. It's been cultivated over many years, basically since the start of your existence. I just heard prior to your existence too, so some of you could have had like past life skill sets that included this one. But this is your gift, this is your talent, this is your thing to express to the world. And it's almost like you're wishing that because there are other things that you feel like you lack, you almost wish that you could have strengths in other things. But everything that's been used in this life was used to strengthen that gift of the mind, gift of logic, gift of word. So wherever you fall on that spectrum of the mind and that King of Swords energy, everything that you have done up until this point has strengthened that part of you, because that is your gift to share. It's not that it's been decided for you. Obviously, you can change your mind if you want, but I feel like this is something that you hold a deep passion for. If you were like, you could be like the Queen of Philosophy is what I'm hearing, or the King of Philosophy. You know, we don't assign genders on the channel, but it's just like, it feels like you feel like you are like royalty in philosophy, or you feel like you really know your stuff when it comes to a certain skill, or maybe some type of critical thinking. Like, your critical thinking levels are pretty high. Like, you have very strong abilities in that sense. And that's something to share with the world. The Hermit, you could be spending a lot of time this week in solitude, and that's not a bad thing. I'm hearing that for some of you, it's necessary. Things have been a whirlwind, and I feel like you need to draw in, recuperate, rejuvenate. This is also a time to reflect, then act. This is a time to come in and basically consolidate information. Anything that you've learned, everything that you've experienced. I mean, honestly, when I look at the Hermit, I think of like sitting down with a good book, honestly. I mean, it's not quite a walk in the park relaxation type of thing. This is active reflection where you're thinking about it, but sometimes we do need to find ways to separate from all that energy, especially with this Eight of Wands here. I feel like you might need to do something to disconnect from that life for a second, especially if you're taking a break and you want to do that reflection. It seems like the external world might be a little bit too chaotic or messy to really dive into it. So coming within and really shining a light on certain parts of yourself that you can reintegrate, specifically maybe shadow parts of yourself that you can reintegrate into the surface of yourself. It just feels like there's reflection, but not rehashing is what Spirit says. There is a danger in rehashing when you do this. So you want to make sure that you are being constructive. You are diving into your darkness with a constructive light. That's the whole thing of the Hermit, is that he has this light. He has a wisdom, so he can go through and actively parse through his shadows. He can face them. He can look them in the eye, and if something is too powerful for him and he's not ready to undertake it yet, he goes, okay, and then he goes to the next one. Like, I feel like there are just some things to uncover here. And I feel like you're on the ball with it, Libra. But this is a reflective time for you. The King of Wands doing so confidently. I love that this Hermit card is cushioned by King of Swords and the King of Wands. I mean, you have two kings, so whoop whoop. Like, I don't know. That feels like big boss energy. It feels very confident energy. The King of Wands is very confident. He is very structured and he's very powerful. So he is very good at decision making, and he is very geared towards success. You could be somebody who is career oriented, or having like, I'm hearing that like you don't have like a single career bone in your body or something like that. Like you have a dream or a vision or a desire for success. Perhaps you're not quite sure about how to achieve it. Maybe that's what spirit means when they feed me some of these words, because I'm like, I'm not sure what that means. Perhaps you're not sure of how to channel that energy or channel this strong energy into something that could be constructively successful in the real world. But you see yourself being successful when you're confident that you can get there. And I feel like you can get there, Libra. It's just a matter, like I do feel some of you wavering a little bit. When I sit in the Libra energy and I really get a feel for this, I do feel like some of you could be quivering a little bit. Some of you could be afraid of what the future holds. And Spirit is saying this week, embrace that confidence, because deep down, if you don't have the confidence now, when you explore, if you go into hermit mode and you explore and start reflecting and start shining light on some of your shadows, I feel like you will step into a space of more confidence and of more ease. You can see it more potently. You can see your visions come to light more potently, so that way you can start making appropriate actions towards your goals. So there's a desire, there's a burning desire for success here. And especially when it's paired with the King of Swords, that does feel like a very strong combination. I feel like you can be very successful, Libra, and you will be. It's almost like you are not taking that as you're not taking no as even an option. You're just like, I'm doing it. That's expressing that exactly with this Eight of Wands energy. That just feels like that's what you're doing right now. Now, the card that kind of exploded with a bunch of cards before it, and then when I said I'm not taking those cards, and I stuffed them back in the deck, the devil popped out. So I heard Spirit say this is conveniently placed here at the end. And perhaps that's just them being like, you know, because like my guides are sometimes a little bit funny when they talk to me. And I think it's kind of like some type of food for thought is what they want to end your tarot on. This is before we get into the oracle cards. But what they mean by that is that there is something, because there's no use in rehashing, but it's something that we know we do anyway. There's no use in prolonging a problem via our thoughts or adding more negative energy and allowing things to negatively impact us by reflecting more on it, especially when we turn over situations and overthink things again and again. There seems to be some type of habit or something that's just cluttering your life. With the explosion of cards, I feel like there's just a lot trying to enter your life, and perhaps either you could be letting that stuff in and kind of letting these other little duties or these other little things consume you when there are higher priorities in your life right now. Perhaps those things mattered to you once upon a time and you held them on a very high standard, but these are things that I feel like are beyond your control, and these are something that you can release the bonds over. That's just some energy that we're working with this week of needing to kind of release the shackles from ourselves, because it's very doable. It's just a matter of like, all you need to do is shift your priorities back to like, shift your energy to the things that you most care about, the things that you're most passionate about, the things that you want to create, the things that you want to, if you want to live in your joy, or whether you want to continue on with your success, if you want to find a balance between those two and add on a bunch of other things, whether you're looking for a new car or a new house, or you're looking for love, or you're like, I've just heard doing your homework. If you're doing your homework and you need, like, you have all of these things that you're trying to balance, Spirit is basically saying release yourself from the shackles of the details, because that's something you can get lost in. And if you're prone to something like that, I just heard this is somebody who is prone to that. So watch out for those energies. Not watch out per se, but like, you'll know I'm talking to you. If this applies to you, I'm talking to you. Like, this is something that's already happening. It's not something that's going to pop up if you haven't experienced it very much, or if you haven't experienced it in years. This is something that you currently do, that you recognize you do, and this is something that could hinder your energy this week only if you let it. Not saying new things are going to come up, but it's something you've been doing and that you've continued to do. And this is just Spirit offering you some gentle guidance and saying, okay, maybe it's time to release some of that so that you can, like, not walk with as heavy as a heart as you do. Make your steps lighter on the world by releasing some of that load off of your heart. Interesting. So you have, for Shaman's Dream, I'm going to pull the book on this. I always do for Shaman's Dream, just because the descriptions are so beautiful. You have Wailing Tree, Reconciliations, number 59. So let's... put it up. Okay. Wailing tree. Grief and mourning, a time of necessary losses, reconciliations. When you encounter the wailing tree on your path, it's an invitation to stay a while and regroup, a place for you to rest and allow yourself to say goodbye to what no longer serves. You may have been overdoing things, working too hard, or putting too much effort into life with little reward. If you've been considering making a change, now is the time to do so. One important thing to consider before you make any changes is that you need to allow yourself to feel your disappointment, your loss, and mourn what was and what could not be. This is a way to honor your experience, to give yourself time to consider all the gifts in it, to put proper closure on it, to really know what you've learned as you walk away from it and into something new. Even in the perception of failure, there is much good to be discovered. However, skipping the stages of loss doesn't get you to reconciliation any faster. In fact, you will discover that you will have to come back at some point. So do it all now, look at it all squarely and honestly, and stay with your feelings. Life is not either or. It's both and, this and that. So as you dive in and process this, allow it to become a temporary travel companion on your journey. The feelings that this will bring to the surface will be challenging for sure. Yet, like all things, they will pass soon enough and you will be more enriched by the experience. Okay, so those last few lines, for whatever reason, gave me chills. I feel like that would be the message that strikes you more than anything, that life is not either or, it is this and that. It is capturing the duality of everything and acknowledging it for what it is. So as I was reading that message too, synchronistically, as we were talking about closing the door and walking away, somebody downstairs in my apartment building closed the door really loudly. So for some of you, you are walking away from something and you're choosing to close the door on something. And depending on what that door is, perhaps, I'm just going to throw out an example here. Let's say that you are somebody who you work, you take care of kids, you take care of your kids, and then you run the house and you do this and that, and you want to write a book, and then you want to, let's say you're like a single dad, for example, and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go out and I'm going to date. And this is just a general example. You don't have to have this exact example. You don't have to have this exact life, but you have so many things going on at the same time, and this dad goes, oh my gosh, you know what? I don't think I have time to date anymore. I really want to write this book. And, dating life doesn't always have to be the first thing to go, but maybe he's like, okay, well, I don't have the time for this anymore. I don't have the space for this. Like, I want to prioritize these other things. I have to walk away from dating. And then he might have to stop and sit with himself and say, okay, but, I want somebody there for my children. So I need to sit here and really just it's going to take me about a year to finish my book. So when I'm out looking again, I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to get back at it, but that's kind of going to mess with my plans a little bit. So there's going to be grieving involved. There's going to be some grieving, oh man, I want to keep this hope up. I want to keep going and trying to look for my partner. Or even if it was the reversal and he's like, well, I want to find a partner first, or I want to see if I can get something going with somebody and then go tackle my book, or get my life stable, get everybody through this season, through this winter season, or, whatever, get them through summer. And then when everyone goes back to school, then maybe I'll tackle things again. It just feels like, don't get so tripped up over the timing of it. If it's something that you close the door on, sometimes those doors can be opened again whenever we allow room in our life for those things to come back. But right now, it just seems like, again, with this 8 of Wands energy, it just feels like so many things are just all over the place right now. So definitely be choosy. Pick and choose what you're going to keep in your life, and give yourself time and space to reflect and grieve over it. Let's pull from Angels and Ancestors deck by Kyle Gray and see what other messages we have for you. For Libra. Lady, enjoy growth and reap rewards. So this isn't necessarily related to a woman or anything related to gender or sexuality, but this does feel like a very feminine energy. There's masculine and feminine energy in us all. And this particular card is about creation. It's about creating things. It's about planting your seeds, watching them grow, feeling like you are reaping like these rewards from the fruit that your tree has bared after spending so long working on it. So there are some rewards to be enjoyed here. It's not like you're slaving along at this deserted landscape and nothing is happening even after like years of working on it. Something is happening. You're seeing some type of growth. You're seeing some type of, even if it's not like, I just heard for some of you it's like actually a material payment. So some of you could be expecting a payment from something. But some of you could be at least going towards being paid. Like if you're a YouTuber, you could actually be seeing monetization soon. Or you could be, you know, like if you listed something on a website and you're seeing some of the orders come in and you're like, oh, wow, like I'm actually getting orders. Like, you know, it's my first time posting on like a store and like, wow, like I'm actually getting somewhere, you know? So you're being rewarded for some of your efforts. And some of you, like, despite the fact that you're letting go of things, there is something else to be enjoyed here. There's something else to celebrate in your success here. So around the new moon, I always like to assign a deck to the new moon or the full moon that we're working with. I'm pulling from Secret Garden by Jessica, I think her last name is Lay, L-E. And so around the new moon in Aries, around the 20th, what can we expect around the middle of our week for Libra? Oh, cool. So you have 3. You have success, bloom wherever you are planted. You have surprises, venture down the rabbit hole. And you have beauty. Dare to be tender and strongly vulnerable. Perhaps it is a surprise that holds a lot of beauty and success. That, dang, this, you could expect, dang. I mean, especially all this together with like this success that could pop up, especially the fact that we just talked about receiving a reward from something. You can expect a surprise success or something very beautiful, and how it manifests. There could be something very synchronistic or something lining up with many signs. So definitely be watching out. I'm literally just heard like a plant too. So for some of you, it could be as simple or as cheesy as like seeing a plant in your living room bloom, or seeing something that you've been working out in the garden bed. It's finally coming, like, you know, it's finally coming to life. This could be something, and it could be something so simple, but it's something that actually brightens up your heart. It brightens up your day, I'm hearing, and it's something that blooms within your heart. So expect something lovely. Wow. I don't know. I like that for you, Libra. And last but not least, I'm going to pull from the Angel Numbers book by Kyle Gray. We're going to roll some dice here, figure out any messages that we can part with. 6, 5, 3. You are expanding your energy and your gifts. Know that any setbacks or feelings of being stuck are just energetic recalibrations so that your vibration can rise higher. One more time, because I always read these messages twice. You are expanding your energy and your gifts. Know that any setbacks or feelings of being stuck are just energetic recalibrations so that your vibration can rise higher. With that, Libra, thank you to you, your angels, and your spirit team. Thank you to my spirit energies for allowing me to channel your message. I love doing these readings for you guys. If this resonated in any way, go ahead and like and subscribe and all the good things so you can keep up to date with me and so that you don't miss updates on the Patreons. Taking a little bit longer than I expected, but I will start posting on it. It is launching very soon, so keep an eye out for that as well. And yeah, I love you, I love you, I love you, and I will see you next time. Bye.